first two baits for, that's right, sight fishing. Now, sight fishing, I'm talking about seeing fish on the beds. Seeing fish on the beds and trying to catch those fish can be frustrating for a lot of anglers. So I'm going to give you the two baits that I always start with. I've been doing it for years. I absolutely love it. It is such a cat and mouse game. You're watching the fish, you're seeing the fish, you're trying to read the fish, and you know, just in general, real quick, like what you're trying to do is A, not spook the bass, and B, find out what part of that bed that fish is territorial about. And there's two baits that I always start with, both on bait casting equipment, and a third is more of a finesse technique, but I don't know what the percentage is. I would say 90%. If they're catchable, I'm catching them on one of these two baits. Number one, and usually I start with the big one. It's a Missile Baits Destroyer, big creature bait. So you want to start with a big creature bait on those fish. And I'm not talking about like 13 inchers that you see on bed. Those are smaller bass, not as much to get excited about. I'm talking about 2.5, 3.5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pounders, like big ones, especially the bigger females. You're gonna see this bait right here. It's a Missile Baits Destroyer, a big creature bait. I really like this color. It's called Green Pumpkin Flash. It's got that sparkle in there, you can see. And I've got a 3/8 ounce tungsten weight on there and a 5/0 Gamakatsu heavy cover worm hook. I usually put a little stopper on there so that the sinker doesn't slide up too far. And then I always throw that on 25-pound Sunline shooter. That's right, 25-pound. I can't tell you the number of 5 and 6 pounders I've caught on this bait right here. And when you set the hook on them, you have to absolutely put the wood to them. You know, you reel down, crack, you're hitting them. When bass are spawning, quite often they'll spawn around cover so that they can feel safe and secure. Now that might be a dock post, it might be a stump, it might be, you know, in the middle of a bunch of grass. But I'm telling you that if that fish is 5 or 6 pounds and he bites your bait, he is going to try to take you around whatever it is around there. You better have the equipment to do it. And that's why I have that on a Cashin flipping stick, 7.6 heavy action, high speed Daiwa reel. And then there's the 25-pound Sunline shooter. So that's definitely my number one bait. And I call this my big bait. I have a big, a medium, and a small. Big and medium catch 90% of them. This is definitely my big. I love it. There are times if they're bedding a little bit deeper, I might go to a 1/2 ounce weight. But generally in water that's relatively clear, we're talking about sight fishing, talking about looking at them. You need to have good polarized sunglasses. You're going to have a big bait right there and you can see it. You don't want to have it too heavy because as I mentioned, you don't want to spook those bass. And there's two things that will spook them real quick. One is the bait actually splashing on top of the water as you pitch it in there or throw it in there or cast it in there. That's one thing. The other thing you have to be cautious of is where your line goes into the water. That will spook fish. If you're moving that up and down and that it is making a little disturbance on the surface right above their head or right where the sun shadow meets on their bed, it can spook them. You have to be just be aware of it, be cautious of it. Sometimes casts might take, a minute to 2 minutes long for one cast, so you don't spook that fish. You kind of sneak that bait in there. If you sneak that bait in there without that fish looking, you put this big bad boy in there, good things are going to happen. Good things are going to happen. Just be patient. Number 2 is my medium-sized bait or small bait. This is a Missile Baits Baby D-Bomb. This is pearl white. I like the pearl white. I like the contrast on the smaller bait. I go with the 5/16 ounce tungsten sinker. A quarter is not quite heavy enough most of the time. 3/8 is a little too heavy. 5/16 seems to be perfect for fishing on this. 3/0 Gamakatsu heavy cover worm hook. And like I said, that's the pearl white. Doesn't have to be pearl white. A lot of times I like the pearl white because I can see it easier. And as I'm moving that bait around in the bed, I can see what those fish are reacting to based on exactly where that bait is. Now, as I mentioned before, you want to see and read how those fish react to where this bait or whatever bait is located within the bed. Within the bed. It might be on the left side, it might be on the right side, it might be on the back side, the front side, right dead in the middle. A lot of times they'll spawn like on like near a root or on a root or a rock or something that they can rub against and get those eggs out, or get the male getting their out, you know what I'm saying? They can get that stuff out. So a lot of times it'll be on something hard, you know, like, you know, the side of this right here. They'll get on so they can rub on that is where they'll create a bed. So you want to throw that bait to be able to see exactly how they react. And if you throw, let's say, to the right side of the bed, and all of a sudden that fish starts looking at that bait, and then you reel it in and pitch it in there, and it goes on the other side of the bed, and the fish just sits there, you want to throw back on that side where that fish made that reaction. And this is a good way to see it. And I'm telling you, the white color, I mean, how many fish do we catch on a white spinnerbait, or a white chatterbait, or a white buzzbait, or whatever white, or a white fluke? I mean, we catch a ton of fish on white baits. Don't be afraid to Texas rig a white bait like they're not going to eat it. Sometimes you might switch colors and change colors if they're looking at it or interested, but they're not committing to eat it. But yeah, this is definitely my number 2 bait, the Missile Baits Baby D-Bomb. I'm going to go 20-pound Sunline shooter on this one, 20-pound, and then I got a Cashin 7.6 Icon flipping stick. Medium is a medium heavy version. Medium heavy, not quite as heavy as the other one, but medium heavy. Again, high speed Daiwa Tatula reel, and then there's the 20-pound Sunline shooter. Really like that. A sniper is really not made for like really crack hook sets. You want the shooter. The shooter lasts a long time. So I mean, for most anglers, you can put shooter onto your flipping rod and fish it for like an entire summer. So it's not like you're going to have to change that line out all the time. That stuff is very durable and lasts a long time. But there's my 1-2 punch. If you have any other comments, let me know. As I mentioned before, small, medium, large. This is my large, the Destroyer. This is my medium, the Baby D-Bomb. And my small is a drop shot, usually bomb shot. Some sort of drop shot bait is kind of my small. There's less than 10% of the fish that don't react to one of these two, or they don't really won't really commit to one of these two. A lot of times those are the ones that are real spooky, or maybe they're real shallow, or maybe they've been caught a few times and they're a little bit spooky, or maybe you hooked them and lost them on this guy for some reason, and they came off and they went back to the bed, and now they won't look at your Baby D-Bomb, but they're still kind of interested. Sometimes you can drop down to that drop shot and catch those fish. Things get a little more dicey with lighter line and a drop shot, but that'd probably be my number 3. There's all kind of bed fishing bait tricks. If you want to drop it down there in the comments and let me know what you have had good luck on, I'd be curious to hear about it. I'd be curious to know what baits you've had good luck with catching fish off the bed, sight fishing with. That's what we're talking about, the first 2 baits. Those are my 2. Be curious to see what your first 2 are. And I don't want to hear about any kind of wacky rig anything, because you ain't catching squat off of a bed with a wacky rig as effective as these 2 baits right here I just mentioned. Now that is probably going to be talked about in a future video when we're talking about catching spawning bass without seeing them. Maybe coming up. But these 2 are probably the most effective, quickest way to get those fish to bite that you can find on spawning bass. So drop it down there what you want, what you use, and then if you want to see any other first 2 baits, let me know. I appreciate you guys watching.